Are you serious? Are you serious? Folks, we have information just now breaking out of France. The president of France, Emmanuel Macron, says he has proof that Syria and President Assad used chemical attack upon their own civilians there in Douma on the outskirts of Damascus. Matter of fact, President Macron said he would decide in due course whether to respond with airstrikes. Western states are thought to be preparing for missile strikes in response to the alleged attack. And in Russia, Syria's main military ally, the Kremlin, spokesman Dmitry Peskov urged against any steps which could lead to an escalation of tension. Matter of fact, U.S. President Donald J. Trump, who said yesterday that missiles were coming, has now tweeted he never said when. So everybody now is trying to figure out, what does this mean? Well, it means it's coming, but he's trying to create the element of surprise, which I don't think you can do that now. You've already said for 3 days that you're within hours. But it could be they're going to appear to be like they're not going to strike and then strike. Or it could be very soon or not soon at all, said the president, who had canceled a trip to stay in the United States with his defense secretary, James Mad Dog Mattis, and has been canvassing support for airstrikes from other leaders of European nations, including French and the British. Matter of fact, the British cabinet is due to discuss the government's response a little bit later today. Sources have told BBC News that the Prime Minister, Theresa May, could be ready to join military action without seeking a parliamentary consent first. Also today, the United Nations Security Council is holding an emergency meeting to discuss the crisis. And the French leader had previously said any strikes would target the Syrian government's chemical capabilities. He did not give the source of this information, but said, "We have proof that the last week chemical weapons, at least chlorine, were used by the regime of Bashar al-Assad." Asked in a TV interview whether France would join strikes on Syria, he said, "We will need to take decisions in due course when we judge it most useful and effective." Now, France will not allow any escalation that could harm the stability in the region. And he said, but, he added, regimes that think they can do everything they want, including the worst things that violate international law, cannot be allowed to act. So what happened, folks, in Douma, the suburb of Damascus? Well, activists and medics say dozens of people died. We're getting reports that 70 died, and 500 were severely injured. They were breathing problems, neural damage, respirators, seizures, all kinds of lung conditions, just ventilators. I mean, this is really bad, okay? Really, really bad. So President Assad's government denies even being behind any of this chemical attack. And the International Organization for the Prohibiting of Chemical Weapons has said it will go to Douma shortly, but it's unclear when it would arrive, how much evidence that any of that chemical attack might still remain. Douma was the last major rebel stronghold near Damascus, and local activists say the main leaders of the group that held it have left following an agreement between Russia and the rebels. And Russia claims the town has been taken over by Syrian forces, and it couldn't be independently verified. Now, we have other reports that Syrian helicopters dropped barrel bombs full of chlorine gas and sarin gas on the civilian population there. And that's the reason why there's been an adamant vocal condemnation by Theresa May of the United Kingdom, Emmanuel Macron of France, and President Donald Trump of the United States. We're going to stay on top of this situation. You don't want to miss today's live broadcast. Things are happening at an alarming prophetic pace, and we're in the last days. I'll see you at 12 noon Eastern at my website at www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. I'm praying for the innocent civilians in Syria. A lot of Christians are there. A lot of folks are in dangerous peril, and we really are praying. It's ugly. It is the last days. Are you saved?